Hi, welcome to Christine's Kitchen. Today we're doing quiche, and I just pulled these little baby quiches out of the oven. They have already kind of sunk a little bit. They're usually quite puffy when they come right out, but I'm going to show you how to make some baby quiches that are cupcake size and also just some regular quiches. So let's get started. Those were for the kids to start and for me to make sure that I was doing what I needed to today. So we're going to start out with, let me say first, that quiches are basically like an omelet in a pie shell. So if you think about it like that, you can put whatever you want into your pie shell. Now, for my quiches, I like to use the puff pastries because it's a little bit lighter and fluffier and adds a little different texture to the quiches. So this is what I'm going to use to show you today. I have laid out the puff pastry dough onto this little whatever cutting board thing, and I'm going to roll it out a little bit because I want it to be a little bit bigger than what it comes in the package. When it comes in the package, it's about a 6 or probably 7 by 7 sheet, but I want to make it a little bit larger. So I'm going to roll it out, and you can pull on it and stretch it a little bit into a larger piece, but I want it to be I'm going to cut 3 by 12 pieces for my baby quiches. So I'm going to show you on a baby quiche situation, and then I'm going to show you on the regular pie crust. So you can see here that I've kind of made it a larger rectangle instead of a square. Okay? And I'm just going to take my knife and I'm going to cut it into 3 long pieces this way, and then I'm going to go 4 wide so I can get four pieces of dough. And then each one of these little pieces of dough I'm going to stretch out even with my hands to then put it in my pie shell. Okay? Into my cupcake tin. So I do want to grease the inside of my tins a little bit, so I just put 1 spray into each little spot. And then I can take this little piece of dough and lay it in and just kind of fold it in. And you can see that I'm having the edges come out a little bit, so it makes a nice little thing. And the messier it looks, the more homemade it looks, like I said when I did pie shells. We want these little tabs to come out because it looks cute when it's all cut, when it's all cooked. So we're going to do that with all of our doughs for the small ones, and then they're ready to fill. As far as your big pan, if you wanted to do a full pie shell, I do still roll it out so that it fits into the pie pan well. Again, I don't mind that these squares, because once I finish it up I'll show you, but you need to have it about 9 or 10 inches wide so that when it goes into the shell it comes up on the edges, on all edges, and really makes a pie shell out of that square. So we're going to come back to that in just a minute. Now, my family likes green chili quiche the best. And basically, green chili quiche is cheese, hatch green chilies, and the eggs. And we put cumin in it when it's hatch green chili quiche. So, but I'm going to show you the vegetable quiche. Let's make the green chili quiche into the small baby ones like I did on this example to start with. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 1 whole batch of quiche makes 12 little baby quiches. And you're going to take and fill each one of these little pie shells, or each one of these little cupcake pie shells, with cheese. And then we're going to put, this is just grated Colby Jack cheese, and you're going to fill up each one of them. And then you're going to take a can of hatch green chilies, and you're going to put it and smear it on the top, just like this. Okay? So this is making a green chili quiche. We would do that on all 12. Okay? We're going to cover the top with them. Now, in a regular size pie shell, you're going to fill the pie shell with about 2 cups of grated Colby Jack and a whole can over the whole top. Okay, so 2 different ways to do it is the big pan, a big pie shell with 2 cups of cheese, Colby Jack grated cheese, and then 1 full can smeared all over the top, or a dozen little ones with just put the cheese in, fill it up, and then smear it so that you have filled every or covered every top, just like so. Okay. Then the center of our, to fill that up with the egg mixture, I'm going to do the egg mixture next. So the egg mixture is 4 eggs, and I like to use the cage-free eggs. I really think they make a difference in taste, especially when you're making an egg-based item or food dish. I think it's really important to have the better eggs. Okay, so you have 4 eggs, and then 3/4 of a cup of half and half. Now half and half is half milk, half cream. So half milk, half cream, and we're going to mix that in. Okay, and I'm using a fork instead of a whisk because I'm using a smaller just measuring dish, so this works good. Okay, now for our spices, in the green chili quiche, I usually use cumin, like I said, so we always have cumin in that. In this dish, we would put a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin in, but I'm not going to because I'm going to do a vegetable one in a minute. So in the green chili quiche, you're going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin and a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic salt. Now I want the garlic salt in any kind of quiche that I make, so that one I'm going to put in, and I'm going to mix that in really good. Okay. Now if I was just making the green chili quiche, this would be ready to go, and I would fill each cup with the egg mixture and bake these for 25 minutes. And then it makes these lovely quiches like this, just bite-sized yumminess. And you can see that they've all shrunk down, but when they came out, they were heaping over. They just puff up. And you know when they're done because you put a knife in there or a little measuring or a little testing tool and see if it comes out clean. When it comes out clean, it's ready to go. So those are all ready to go. So that's how I would make the baby green chili quiches. Now, I'm gonna show you how to make a vegetable quiche, or if you wanted to make a quiche Lorraine or any other kind of quiche. You're going to put it in you can do it in any kind of pie shell, but in this case, we're going to put vegetables in. So I wanted to show you a few tricks on cutting vegetables as well. I've showed you the onion before, but I'll show it again. When you're cutting a pepper, it's all bumpy, so sometimes it's a little bit more difficult. So I cut off the bump, and I cut off the bump, and I set those aside. I'm going to set we can remove it from the... I'm thinking that maybe... Is it back on? Sorry, today's a bad weather day, and that's why I'm inside cooking. So I don't know what you missed, but I was showing how to dice a pepper. And so basically, if you cut off the humps and you have the strips, you can cut it into small pieces. And then I've cut my humps into small pieces like this, in which I can then come in and cut those as well. So I'm using every bit of that pepper. You know, sometimes peppers are just hard to get diced all the same size, and but that's a nice, easy way to do it. Okay, so we're going to use those peppers when we saute our vegetables. And then I've shown you the onion before, where you cut the onion in half, and you cut all the way through in little sections, all the way through like this, and then it comes out nice and diced when we do it, when we cut off the end like this. And I leave the tail on because it holds it together and also helps it from being making you cry when you cut your onions. So that's some nice diced vegetables. So what we're gonna do for this quiche is what I did was I sauteed some peppers, onions, and and I have sauteed some spinach and mushrooms to go in this because I'm making a vegetable quiche. So I'm going to say something else really quick. So sometimes at the beginning of the week, I'll take a whole pepper and I'll cut it and dice it all up and put it in a baggie. Same with mushrooms. Cut them all up, dice them up, and have them ready. Onions, same thing. So that whenever I want to make my dishes, whether I decide to make quiche or whether I decide to make stir fry or whatever I want to do, I have all those vegetables already cut and ready to go. So in this quiche, I just took out a half a cup of cut red peppers that I had cut, a half a cup of yellow peppers, and a half a cup of cut onions. So they were ready to go. And a half a cup is about a half a pepper. So if you start from scratch, a half a pepper of each kind, green, red, yellow, and half a cup of onions. And then these mushrooms are, it was 5 large mushrooms that I cut up. And you can see how they weep down. And the other thing that's interesting is I put some spinach in. So when you're sauteing your vegetables, I put in about a teaspoon of butter, and then I sauteed up the mushrooms, and then I took a big handful like this of spinach. This much spinach cooked down to that level. So then I threw it all in the pot and in the pan and let it all saute together with that little bit of butter, and it came out just like this. So that's going to be really tasty. You can imagine that buttery flavor on those mushrooms. And then also another thing to know about when you're sauteing your vegetables, your harder vegetables you want to do first. So my onions and my green peppers are tougher than my yellow and my red. So I put in, again, about a little over a teaspoon of butter in this pan, threw in my onions, threw in my green peppers, sauteed those, and then after they were a little bit wilted, I went ahead and put in the red and yellows, because then they're cooking they're finished at the same time. Because if I had put all the peppers in at the same time, my yellows and reds might have been a little bit mushy. Okay, so I have my sauteed vegetables all ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and do similar to what we did on the cupcake quiches, and put in, this time we're going to put in about a cup on the bottom, because I like to layer it. Okay, I lie, I'm going to put in about a cup and a half. So, and you want it to be fluffy, okay? You don't want to mat it down. And then I'm going to put in a layer of peppers. Okay. And then I'm going to put in another cup of cheese. Okay, and then I'm going to put in all of these mushrooms and spinach. Okay. And you're using your clean hands. All right, and then I'm going to put in another cup, because we're filling this with cheese. So this is total probably about 3 cups of cheese at the end of the day, because I'm not really filling my cupper as I go. Okay, and then I'm going to top it off with the rest of my red and yellow peppers and onions. So it's so pretty. Okay. And alrighty, that looks great. See all those yummy vegetables in there. Now, if you wanted to add bacon or sausage or anything like that, just remember it's kind of like a omelet. So whatever you like in your omelet, you can throw in there. But you do want to make them cooked, because it's not going to cook. You're going to saute them or make sure that the meat is all cooked, the sausage is cooked, the bacon is cooked, because it's not going to cook inside of there. All right. Oh, I was showing you that I bag up all my cooked vegetables, so that's what that was for. So my mixture is right here. Remember, this is 4 eggs, 3/4 cup of half and half, and a half a teaspoon of garlic salt. Okay. If there's another herb that you like to put in to your, into your omelets or your egg dishes, you're welcome to do it. It's totally up to you. Okay, and all I'm doing is I'm just filling my pot with this egg mixture. Okay, And I don't know if you can see, but you can barely see that it's really just filling right underneath where that cheese is. Then I'm going to take these edges and I'm actually going to bring them in. This is why I like to use the square, and it really makes it pretty once it's cooked up and popped out. So on the big pie shell, this is really a beautiful dish once it's cooked. So we're going to cook this for, gosh, this one's 45 minutes at 350. But when you're doing the little muffin tins, that's only 25 minutes at 350. So anyways, I hope that you enjoyed our quiche demonstration today, and you can find the recipes and the video out on christineskitchen.info. So thanks so much. Talk to you later. Bye.